A neuroscientist just did something that used to be impossible. Writing a single scientific review, the kind that pulls thousands of papers into one authoritative document, used to take him as long as 2 years. He now has about 10 of them, many over 100 pages. At another lab, a cancer researcher ran a genetic analysis that normally takes weeks, in roughly one tenth of the time, and independent reviewers confirmed the results held up. And one scientist mapped an entire research field from scratch for about $26. What changed? On June 30th, Anthropic quietly shipped something it calls Claude Science, an AI workbench. And here is the part almost nobody is saying out loud. What it really is a blueprint, a way to turn a single Claude into a coordinated team of expert agents that attack your hardest work. And you do not need to be a scientist to steal it. Let me show you exactly how it works. Start with the problem it solves, because you have felt this one. Real expert work is never just one tool. A scientist bounces between a coding notebook, a dozen specialized databases, a compute cluster, a citation manager, and a figure editor. And the context gets lost in every single jump. Most people assume the answer would be a smarter chatbot. Anthropic bet on something different. TechCrunch put it perfectly. They bet on the workflow, not a new model. Claude Science is not a bigger brain. It is a workbench. A single environment where one coordinating agent already has every tool, every database, and every specialist it needs wired in. You talk to one agent in plain language. Behind it sits an entire system. That distinction, one smart model versus one orchestrated system, is the whole video. Because the system is what produces results, the model alone never could. Here is the architecture, and this is the part worth copying. At the center is a generalist coordinating agent. Think of it as the lab director. It does not do everything itself. It has access to more than 60 curated skills. Pre-built reusable capabilities for things like genomics, single cell analysis, proteomics, structural biology, and cheminformatics. And when a job needs deep expertise, that coordinating agent can spin up specialist agents, sub-agents built for one narrow domain, and even work alongside specialists that you create yourself. So a single request fans out. The director breaks the problem down, hands the pieces to the right specialists, and pulls the answers back together. If you have used Claude Code with sub-agents and skills, you already recognize this shape. Anthropic just packaged it, aimed it at the hardest knowledge work on Earth, and proved that it works. Now the output. This is where it stops feeling like a chatbot. Claude Science does not just hand you an answer. It produces real scientific artifacts, figures and full manuscripts, generated alongside the actual code that made them. It natively renders three-dimensional protein structures, genome browser tracks, and chemical structures right there in the workspace. And every artifact ships with its own receipts. The full message history, the code environment, and a plain language description of what was done, so that anyone can validate it and reproduce it. Do not like the figure? You just ask in plain English. Drop the grid lines. Change the axis scale. And it edits the underlying code for you. An answer plus the proof plus the power to change it without touching a single line of code. But here is the objection every serious person raises. AI makes things up. And a confident, wrong answer in science is not just embarrassing, it is dangerous. Anthropic's answer to that is the smartest design choice in the whole product. There is a dedicated reviewer agent. Its entire job is to check the work of the other agents. It flags incorrect citations. It catches numbers that cannot be traced back to a source. It spots mismatches between the code and the figure it supposedly produced. In other words, the system polices itself before anything ever reaches you. That is the trust layer. And it is exactly the piece that most people forget when they try to build their own AI workflows. Then there is the muscle. Serious work needs serious compute, and Claude Science manages it for you, scaling from your laptop to a high performance cluster all the way up to on demand GPUs. And it asks for permission before it ever touches a new resource. Your sensitive data does not move, it stays on your own infrastructure, and only the context that is actually needed gets sent to Claude. On top of that, it comes pre connected to more than 100 scientific databases. Names like UniProt, the Protein Data Bank, Ensemble, and ClinVar. And it plugs directly into NVIDIA's BioNemo toolkit. And models like Evo 2 and Boltz 2, compute data and tools already wired together on day one. Quick pause. If this is opening your eyes to what is now possible, here is the thing. The vast majority of people watching this have not subscribed. It is free. It takes 1 second. And it is the single biggest way you tell me to keep making these deep dives. So hit subscribe and then let's get into the proof. Because this is where it gets real. Proof number one: a biotech company called Manifold Bio, which develops medicines that target specific tissues, put Claude Science to work nominating drug targets. That means assessing which proteins sit on the surface of a cell, how they move through it, and whether hitting them is safe. All scored against the company's own proprietary criteria. And the team's own verdict was the tell. This took end to end capability that a standard coding assistant simply could not deliver. Not a smarter autocomplete, a system that could run the entire pipeline, start to finish. Proof number two, and this is the one that stops you cold. Jerome Lecoq, a neuroscientist at the Allen Institute, built his own computational review system on top of Claude Science with about 20 custom skills that he created himself. Here is what that system does: it reads thousands of papers, extracts the claims and the quantitative findings, constructs a narrative arc, and generates figures that compare results across studies. Before Claude Science, Lecoq said, writing one review like this could take as long as 2 years. He now has about 10 of them, many of them running past 100 pages. Read that again. A 2 year task turned into a whole library because he did not just use the tool, he built his own specialists on top of it. Proof number three: Stephen Francis, an epidemiologist at UCSF's Brain Tumor Center, used Claude Science to accelerate germline variant analysis for glioma research, essentially hunting through inherited genetic data for signals tied to brain cancer. In his words, the app dramatically accelerated the analysis, enabling a comprehensive workup in roughly 1/10 of the time it used to take. And critically, the results were independently validated. They held up. And it is not just the insiders. Writing in Forbes, one researcher described using the workbench to map his entire field from the ground up for around $26. The pattern across all three is the same, not a little faster, an order of magnitude faster. So here is the part I promised: how you steal this, even if you never touch a test tube. Because the workbench is really just 4 moves, and every one of them is available to you right now inside Claude. 1. A coordinating agent. Give one Claude the job of directing, not doing. 2. Skills. Package your repeatable tasks, your reports, your analyses, your checks into reusable skills the coordinator can call, exactly like Lecoq's 20. 3. Connectors and data. Wire in your real sources, your databases, your files, your tools. So the agent works from ground truth, not from guesses. And 4, the one everyone skips: a reviewer. A second agent whose only job is to check the first one's work before you ever see it. Coordinator, skills, connectors, reviewer. That 4-part shape works for legal research, financial analysis, marketing, or engineering. Any deep, messy, expert workflow. Anthropic proved it on Science. You can run it on your own job this week. And if you do want to use the real thing, here is exactly where it stands. Claude Science is in beta right now on Mac and Linux. For anyone on a Claude Pro, Max, Team, or Enterprise plan. And the Team plan has discounted seats for academic institutions and nonprofits. But here is the move if you are a researcher. Anthropic is running an AI for Science grant program. Up to $30,000 in credits for up to 50 projects, with Modal throwing in extra compute credits on top. The catch is the clock. Applications close on July 15th, and the projects run from September through December. If that is you, do not sit on this. Everything lives at claude.com/science. So let's bring it home. The headline is AI for scientists. But the real story is that the workbench pattern, a coordinator, skills, connectors, and a reviewer just became the blueprint for doing expert level work in any field. And it is sitting inside a tool that you may already pay for. If you want the whole thing laid out, comment the word science on this video, and I will send you a free guide, the AI Workbench Blueprint, plus the grant checklist, straight to you. And if you want to go deeper, I have built 4 paid guides for people who are serious. My beginner's guide to Claude Code, the OpenAI Codex Guide, Claude for Sales, and the Claude Certified Architect Prep Kit. All linked in the description. And wherever you are watching this, do 3 quick things. Subscribe on YouTube, follow Hyperautomation Labs on Instagram, and follow the page on Facebook. Because I break down every one of these the moment it drops. One quick tip, this plays great at 1.25 or 1.5 speed. Comment science, and I will see you in the next one.